Hello, and welcome to the How to Exit podcast, where we introduce you to a world of small to medium business acquisitions and mergers. We interview business owners, industry leaders, authors, mentors, and other influencers with the sole intent to share with you what it looks like to buy or sell a business that generates less than $10 to $15 million a year. Let's get rolling. All right, so today we're here with Lana Coronado, and we're going to talk about business exiting, buying, selling, and what it looks like to maximize the value of your business when we exit. Hello, Lana. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Ron.
This is going to be fun. So the one thing I like to do to start off with is I really want people to kind of get inside who you are and what you're up to, and like as a person and in life. So start wherever you want to start, but tell us about kind of where you come from and how you got to where you are now.
Okay, well, I am a first-generation immigrant from a country that no longer exists. It used to be Soviet Union, now it's Ukraine. I have been out of that country for a long, long time. I have been living here in the U.S. I'm full-blooded American now. I've been living here longer than I have been anywhere else. This is my country. This is my home. I got to New York way back when. I'm not going to date myself, but it was a while ago. And I was just lucky. I was very lucky to have arrived in New York at the right time with the right set of skills and honestly with enough goals to go and learn what I didn't know. So my background is in IT. It's in electronics, and I showed up in New York right when the IT was booming. So everything was just growing. Everything was a bleeding edge at that time, and that was my field. So I got to do so many cool things in New York at that time. I got to do so many first things, and it was just exciting. It was great. On a personal level, I have 3 children. My children's dad was unfortunately murdered, so it's been kind of a tough road for me. My youngest daughter was only 2 months old when that happened, and that was a very long time ago. So growing up with my children in New York City, which was, I couldn't even speak English back then. It was a little bit tough, but it was also very, very educational. And I think the saying, if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. It is so true. It is so true. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be in the field. I've gotten into IT, kind of a funny story because of a boy. And it's not something that I would want to share probably, but yeah, so there was a cute boy that was in this field, so that's where I got in. But then a lot of things happened, and I ended up in M&A, in the world of M&A, and I am just having a ball right now. That's all I could tell you.
It's a lot of fun. So I didn't realize that you came to the United States and actually had to learn English here. You speak better, but I'm from Oklahoma. You speak better English than I do.
Oh, come on. Well,
so I would have never picked up.
The funny thing is, I speak, actually, I'm fluent in 4 languages, but none of them I speak without an accent. Even my own language, when I go back there, I speak with an accent. So that's that.
So we have similar backgrounds. I actually spent some time in the IT world when I got out. I joined the military at 20. And when I got out, they recruited me into the IT world. And when I joined the military, I did everything I could do to get away from my Oklahoma accent. I've been back here a while now, so you can probably pick up some of it. But I tried to get everything I do to get away with it, because in military intelligence, if you sound kind of redneckish, they just assume that you don't belong in the intelligence community, right? So, I have a deep admiration for the fact that you're speaking multiple languages, because I'm doing my best to challenge this one. All right.
Well, I wouldn't know it, Ron. I would not know it that you have an accent. So.
Yeah. So It's funny is the people that would pick it up for me would be people like I'd call when my dad was still around. I'd call my dad and talk to him for a few minutes, and then I'd be talking to somebody there in Hawaii or wherever I was stationed, and I would say you all or something. And they're like, where did that come from? And I'd like, oh, I don't know. I'm just joking around. I pretend that that it was a mistake, right? So cool. So you have a very interesting background. So what got you into mergers and acquisitions, M&A?
M&A, okay. Well, again, that was kind of an accident, actually, a real accident.
Not another boy?
No, not another boy, but you know how, again, the saying goes, if something happens, if I ever get hit by a truck, well, I actually got hit by a truck, by an 18-wheeler, which left me very, very broken physically. There are some other things that transpired in my life that kind of left me at a crossroads. So at that point, I decided that I wanted to do something different. I had been an investor. I've retired from IT very, very early, moved out west, and then kind of did the very boring, but I was just investing in stocks, basically. But then that life-changing experience made me think that I wanted to be real. I wanted to invest in more real businesses and work with real people. And so this is how I got into M&A. I took a course and I learned about it. I figured out that it's actually sounding a lot more fun than I thought. So I started investing in real businesses, in real people, and have been having a ball. I started doing this about 2 years ago, and it has been a blast ever since.
Yeah, I started, I think, it was October. I did the course where you were one of the speakers there. And I haven't had this much fun since. I was telling a friend of mine, I used to race motorcycles. I was never any good. I learned how to fix bikes because I wasn't good enough to have a sponsor that would pay for parts and stuff. So, but I did race motorcycles, dirt bikes and stuff. And coming out of one of these meetings after negotiating, purchasing the thing, gave me this same adrenaline rush as if I just jumped an uphill double on a dirt bike, right? It was just like my heart was pounding. It was awesome, right? And so, yeah, I'm having a fat blast. I'm absolutely loving this too. So, absolutely. Cool. So tell me a little bit about, so I see, or we talked about a little bit beforehand. I see that you have a book coming out, right? So tell me about where that came about and tell me about your co-author and just, what's it about?
Okay, yes. So, well, you already know that I started investing in businesses, started working with businesses. And so what happens there is people started approaching me about buying their business. And very soon I realized that there's a lot of businesses that are not really businesses. They're basically people self-employed. They're working, they don't have a boss, they're working for themselves. So they're calling themselves a business, but when it comes to selling that business, so to speak, it's really nothing, there's really nothing to buy. So, and then by nature, I'm the kind of person that cares a lot. So it's very, very hard for me to say no to somebody. It's very hard for me to turn away somebody. So I kind of came up with the trick in my own head. I thought that, well, if I just help these people bring their businesses up to par, if I can do something to help the people make that business into a business worth buying, then it would be helpful. I wouldn't feel so bad about turning them away. And so this is how it started. I created this report basically that said, these are the steps that you can take that can make your business be a better business or be a closer business to business than a self-employment. And I reached out to my friend Scotty Schindler, who is actually a business person who has built the business. He started the business and he's had an exit. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, you've built a business, you've sold a business. Can you read this report and give me your feedback, see how it feels from your end? He read it and he said, well, the content is good. You should write more about it. There should be a lot more. And I said, well, do it with me. By the way, English, you've noticed, is not my first language, so I never in my life thought that I would write a book. But I told him, well, you write it with me. And he said, okay, great. So we kind of got together and we built this relationship, and we wrote the book almost from the point of he said, she said, except that now it's from the point of the buyer versus the point of the seller. So he tells his story and then how he sees that. And then I tell my story as an investor and how I see the whole transaction. And we just go through the steps, and we basically talk about all these little things that you can do to improve on your business, to make your business worth selling, or make your business worth buying to somebody who is looking to buy a business. So that's what the book is all about. I am not really sure that it is not a textbook. Well, actually, I am very sure that it's not a textbook. We try to make it very, very simple to understand. We understand that a lot of business owners are not there to, they don't have an MBA. They don't have all the book learning. They don't have all the understanding of what, all these complex issues and then calculations. So we try to make a book that is easy to read, that is easy to understand. And we basically, in plain English, we try to explain how that works and what EBITDA is and what is, what is better for the business when it comes to dependencies. And then how it is that, when a business owner is there, and it is very all important, for example, and everybody comes to the business owner for the advice, and the business owner is the one doing all the purchasing and all the buying and all the selling. Well, that's great. It makes him or her feel very good about themselves, but it makes for a very bad business to be selling because it creates a lot of dependencies. So if I was to buy that kind of business, well, where would that leave me if the owner leaves? And so all these steps, we're going through all these steps in the book, and we're explaining, and we're giving them real life, from my experiences, from his experiences, real life examples of how that works and how that applies to any particular business.
Cool. So, without giving the entire book away, and we don't want you to do that, we want people to read the book, what would be the one thing that just kind of sticks with you that's missing in most of the businesses that you see, that really, that they focused on that, it would help with the other stuff?
Right, succession planning. Succession planning. Right, yes. And by the way, I don't have a problem. Actually, I wanted to offer that to you, Ron, if any of your listeners out there would like to send you their email address. I will be more than happy to send them a free copy in PDF format when the book is out there. Again, we're not doing this for the money. We're not hoping to make a lot of money selling the book. We're just hoping to help people and make their businesses better. But yeah, succession planning, make sure that when you leave the business, your business is there, still operating, and it's still a profitable, good business. That way, it's a lot easier for you to sell.
Awesome. So I'll make sure that we have a way for them to contact me at the end of this. So listen until the end. I'll give you my email address, and just email me that you'd like a copy of Lana's book, and we'll make sure you get that. So let's go back to, like, it sounds like you've been doing this for what, over 2 years now, and you've done some deals. We'll talk a little bit about like how far you've climbed in 2 years, right? There's a surprise here in a minute that, like, you climbed pretty high. So, but in that process, what's one thing that you wish you had, like, now, but you wish you had known on day one, right? Is there something, like, as far as anybody out there that's looking to get into acquisitions and mergers, buying businesses and stuff, what's one of the first things they should just learn right then?
Okay, so again, I'll start with a common saying, common knowledge. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I would say it is mostly true, with a little bit of a caveat. I would add a little bit to it. And I would advise people to not just go out and look for connections, but learn something. Learning is always good no matter what. Education, it's not going to weigh on you. It's only going to be helpful every time. So if you go out there and learn something, then you can come into a situation where you start meeting people and start making connections. Well, you will have something to talk about to those connections. And once you have that conversation, those people will become really, truly who you know. And then because now you know somebody, that will lead to more conversations, that will lead to more introductions. If you're really interesting person, if you're really making sure that you're somebody worthy of knowing as well, then you will be introduced to other people, and that will create another network for you. And that will, in return, that will create more knowledge for you, because now you have another person that you can talk to, and you can ask questions, and you can exchange information. And so that will kind of have a snowball effect, where the more you know, the more people you will know, the more you will know from those people, and it will just keep on going. But yes, definitely networking. You will find a lot of deals. You will find a lot of relationships there. You cannot do it in a vacuum. Absolutely.
Awesome. 100% agree with that one. 100%. One of the reasons I do the podcast is I get to meet really interesting people. I get to share those people, and share, the audience I'm building with, the people I'm interviewing. And we get to learn stuff about each other that we wouldn't have in a normal day of doing business. For full disclosure, you and I are on calls on we're in the same circle, right? We've had the same mentor, and I'm a little bit behind where you're at, but I'm working hard. But the interesting thing is I am a big believer in that network, right? I'd pay what I paid. Some of these courses aren't cheap. I'd pay what I paid for that last course that you and I did together. And I don't have approval to use their name, so we won't do that here. But I would pay that just for the network. The people I met inside of that community are absolutely amazing people. And, I come to those calls and, I've had a couple calls where I come to you on projects you're working in, and how can I be of service? And that's the approach I want to take is, what do I have that you might need? Because I want to enter, with a service mindset. So I'm on board with that. Right. What value can I add to your life? And then we'll go from there. So. Yeah,
absolutely true. Absolutely true, Ron. And I do want to add that you are actually quite good at the networking. You have that. You seem to have that down. You just have that kind of personality that you just make it so easy to talk to, and you make that happen. And this is actually, I would like to use you as an example of that, because you do your homework. You do go out there and you learn, whether you take a course or you read a book or you ask questions, you do all that. So when you come to a connection, you have something, you are a very interesting person to talk to, and that creates more connections. And so now, again, and even in this little example, I am more than happy to introduce you to more people out there. And those people will have a conversation with you and so forth. And by the way, I would love for you to meet my partner and my co-author, Scotty Schindler, because he can tell you the story from his side.
That'd be wonderful. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Connection just happened. See how that works?
Yeah, that's awesome. So I alluded to it a little bit, like how far you climbed in just 2 short years. But anybody that's Googled you by now, they're actually at your LinkedIn page, and they see that you're the chairman of the board for a publicly traded company. So how did that come about? Tell us a little bit about, MBH as much as you want to. And it's cool to be the chairman of a board and you have your ticker symbol. That's a goal now I have. I have a goal in my profile to be able to tell people what my ticker symbol is. That would be awesome. So tell us about that.
Well, I will tell you really quickly, because I think that's a podcast in its own right. And so I would like to facilitate that for you, and bring somebody onto your podcast to talk about that. But in short, I can tell you that It's built on this very new model called agglomeration. There were two co-founders there, Jeremy Harbour and Callum Lang. They came up with this idea, so they've created MBH, which is basically a platform to enable businesses to grow and break through the glass ceiling, break through that scale paradox. And you know what that is? It's when you have a small business, and we're talking about maybe $10-20 million in revenue. Once you come to that level, it gets very, very hard. It's easy to grow up to that level, but then once you get to that level, it gets very hard to break through that, because you come to this scale paradox. It's if you want to have a bigger contract, you have to be a bigger company. But you can't become a bigger company if you don't have the bigger contract. So this is what MBH provides, actually. We have the platform, we have the publicly traded company. So we invite companies to join us and now keep running the business the way they are. We don't take their the branding or anything like that. They keep running the business the way they are. They have built it. We have full trust and then just full confidence in the business owners to keep running their businesses the way they did. And we just provide them with that platform. So now they can use our status as a publicly traded company and the combined revenue levels and the combined EBITDA levels. So now they can go out and get those bigger contracts. And that just grows. And we also provide them the platform to buy other businesses underneath. So this is, Jeremy's favorite saying. It's all about democratizing wealth, and that is absolutely true. So we're providing for the platform. Again, it's a platform for the businesses who are not looking for exit. So this is not for businesses who are looking to sell. This is for business owners who have the companies and they're looking to grow those companies and then just be successful.
Awesome.
So I'm very, very happy to be on that board.
Yeah. And so the interesting thing, and you told me a lot about MBH, but I think you missed my question. My question is, you went from, IT worker to semi-retired, stock investor to mergers and acquisitions. And in a short period of time, became the chairman of the board of an acquisitions-based company. And I think the answer might allude to what you just talked about, like networking and providing value. But I wanted to hear it from, that's what I'm thinking it probably is, but I wanted it to come from your approach. How did you think you stepped up into that role? Like, I know one of the two guys that, you were talking about there is actually one of the mentors that we studied under, right? And he asked you to be the chairman of the board of the company he's founded. So that's impressive.
Well, actually, I did exactly what you just talked about, Juan, is when you see something, when you see an opportunity, you just come in and you ask, how can I help? And that's exactly what I did. When I learned about the agglomeration model, I just became so enthralled with the whole model, with the whole idea of it. I was just there helping. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't have any plans. I was just there to help. I have become #1 fan of the company. I have become #1 promoter there. I would talk to anybody and everybody that I knew. And of course, my resume probably didn't hurt. But again, when I was approached to become a chair of the board, it took me about 30 seconds to say yes, because I had already known everything about the company, and it was just I knew that I could provide value there. I knew that I can do something positive for the company. So it was very, very easy answer for me. Yeah,
awesome.
Maybe it took 35 seconds.
So I think we heard two, but one of my favorite questions to ask is, who are 3 of the most influential people in this career, in this space that you've come across so far?
Well, again, I am somewhat an unconventional person. So I know that a lot of people will have big names lined up for you. I can only tell you that the 3 most influential people in my life, throughout my life, were my 3 children.
Awesome.
Everything and anything that I have ever done, it was all because of them. It was all for them, and they are my They're my guides. Any decision that I ever make in my life, I will always check in my head with them. Would they approve? Would they be proud of me? Would they be, how would this decision would make them feel? Or how would it affect them? So everything is about my children. And, again, I would read a lot of books, I would watch a lot of videos, and I would watch a lot of informational videos and shows and what have you. And so I don't have a whole one hero there that I would just go wholeheartedly. I could have, one person that says something really cool, and he's my hero, she's my hero for that moment, and then they say something that's not really cool, and then they're not my hero. So I don't pick a person. If I had to pick one person or three people, those would be my three children.
I think
they're my heroes. They're absolutely my heroes.
And I think you just won the internet, because that's the best answer I've actually heard. Most people can name off, right? In this world, it's Jeremy Harbour, Roland Frazier, Carl Allen. There's a lot of people out there who are teaching this, right? Carl Allen, and everybody's like, you must be, you're a Jeremy Harbour guy. It's like, yeah, I've taken that, but I've also taken the other guy's stuff too. I consume everything I can consume, and I make it apply, to my world. I'm an information. That's what I do. I consume information. My my desk is stacked up high with books. My bookshelf over here is stacked. I have bookshelves out in the common area of our office that people can borrow and take. I've read them and I don't need to read them again, kind of books. So I get that, but the best answer I've ever had is I do this for my kids. I appreciate that. So let's take just a second. Where are your kids now, and what are they up to? Are they doing anything cool in their worlds?
Yeah, well, my kids are not in M&A world, but they're really, really cool. One of them is a chef, one of them is a blacksmith, and one of them, so I have two girls and a boy, and my youngest girl is a boat mechanic. So again, I don't think there's anything conventional about them. And by the way, I take full credit for that, because I have always told them, don't go with convention. Question everything, and you can do anything you want. Don't go with, with the norm or whatever it is. Just whatever makes you happy, go with that. And so I am very proud to say that they are all doing what they want to be doing, and they're happy.
Awesome. That's cool. So I think you and I actually are on the same page with that. I believe I have two little ones. Like mine are still, I started young. I'll give away my age. I'm 49 and I have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old, right? And they're a handful at this stage. But I honestly believe that my job of a parent is not to teach them what to think, but teach them how to think, right? And it's funny, is a friend of mine, she gave me an analogy. It's kind of like you're driving down the road, you're blindfolded, and luckily there's guardrails, right? Our job is to be the guardrails for our children. We're not supposed to steer them and tell them, to go perfectly straight down the center, because they're going to hit. Our job is to keep them from falling off, off the hill, and keep them, but my goal is to teach my kids how to think. So my little 5-year-old, she's a red-haired, blue-eyed fireball of a girl. And, she'll tell me no sometimes in front of people. Like, I can't believe you stand for that. Well, I asked her a question and she said no, or I told her to do something. And I explained to her that it's not no, Daddy. It's like, I don't want to. And then we do a little negotiation, and she still does it, but they're allowed to do that. She's allowed to think, right? If she's in a bad mood and I go to give her a hug, it's okay for her to tell me no. It's her body and it's okay. That's 100% okay to tell me no, I don't want to hug right now. So I love that you've got that same mentality. Be you. Don't just go along with what everybody else says. Think for yourself, make rational decisions, and I got your back, right? So yeah, I love that. And as a matter of fact,
speaking of negotiations, that's exactly what I did with my children. When they were little, they would ask me, Ma, can I go have a sleepover? And I would say no, and they would start pouting, and I'd be like, no, why are you accepting that? Let's negotiate, bargain. What do you got? Let's negotiate. And so I've taught them that. I never accepted that from them. I never accepted that they would accept the no from me.
It's interesting because I spent a lot of time. I'm actually getting ready to kick off a program to get like a 21-day challenge to get people past no, because as kids we get beaten down with it. We actually inherit this like reaction, a physical reaction to be told no, and it doesn't work for you in business and real estate and entrepreneurs, acquisitions and mergers. No matter what you're doing, if you're in the business world and you can't stand here in a no, it's gonna get in your way a little bit. So my kids are okay with it. They do negotiate. The favorite story I have for that is my son used to love this show, and I can't remember what it was. It's kind of it was just as annoying as Baby Shark, right? The song, and he would ask my wife to play it over and over again, and she'd say, "Okay, I'll play it once," and he'll say, "No, 4 times," and they go back. I taught him to negotiate. And so they were going back and forth, and they finally agreed on 3. And I said, "Good job, Caleb. Give me 5." He goes, "I want 6." Right? I just I've created a monster, right? But yeah, that's just I love that. I'm a big fan to teach them to think for themselves, to go for what they want. And my kids to this day will negotiate with me, right? It's like if they get grounded, they can actually open up a negotiations for how to get ungrounded. And it's usually like cleaning up stuff. We have 5 acres, doing something on the farm. They got to do something that's outside of their normal day-to-day I got to do in order to get that done. So let's jump back to the acquisitions merger world, because this is kind of why we're all here and that's why our listeners are here. But
Right.
What is one common myth in this industry? Like the business owners probably hear, right? I kind of know what mind thinking is, but what's the one common myth in this profession that you wish it wasn't there?
Okay, so the common myth is that the world of M&A is just full of these heartless robots, and it couldn't be further from truth. And I understand that there's always a few bad apples in any box, and they unfortunately make that bad name, that bad rapport, but bad reputation. But I actually, you and I are in the same network, and I can honestly tell you, I can't even imagine how some of these people could be even perceived as heartless. I've met so many great people. They're just all heart. They're caring. They have families. They're human people. And I don't know. Maybe you and I just lucky to be in this network. That's different. But I do believe that it's not luck. It's just they're just wonderful people. And so that is the myth. I think that M&A is this kind of a mysterious and heartless world. It is not. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take an opportunity here to talk about my latest venture.
Okay.
Which is Labruta Capital, and that is actually the heartfelt, the most altruistic thing that we've come up with so far, and we just started it. As a matter of fact, here's another connection. I'm going to facilitate you to interview my partners Ali and Brooker, which are absolutely awesome. And so this is the company that we've created to exclusively work with people, with business owners who are facing bankruptcy right now. And then we know it's coming. We know it's there. It exists, and it's very unfortunate. And so for the business owners that are thinking that there's no other option, we are the other option. We can make that problem. We have a different way of saving that business. We have a way of making sure that instead of going into bankruptcy now, so the business owner, when he or she goes into bankruptcy now, there is a 7 or 10 year credit report that it sits on there. So they can't open another business. They can't open a bank account because of the check system. There's so many implications there. Their personal assets now at risk. So what we do here is we work with that business owner. We make sure that we restructure their debt. We have the capital for it. We restructure the debt. We make sure that the business stays open. We make sure that those jobs are still available, that people don't lose their jobs. So we're basically saving the economy one business at a time. And at the same time, we work with the business owner. We put them through this program where we work with them and make sure that their personal guarantees are all taken care of, that they're not, that their credit stays intact. We help them fix the credit, and we also help them protect their personal assets. So this is, I don't know, you can't call it heartless at all. This is the business that is very, very dear and near to my heart because I feel that we're making a difference. We're there to make the difference. We're there to help.
I heard about that one, and as you're aware, I actually got the three of you guys on a Zoom call and did my "How can I serve you?" And you guys had everything nailed down and didn't need me right away, but I'm still looking for a way to serve you guys. I have a history in negotiating debt off of real estate. I ran a short sale real estate firm for a long time, and but so I've got a spot in my heart for people in trouble. It carries a lot of weight, though. I'll share this with you. One of the things that impacted me most in the foreclosure world is I took it home with me a lot. I would see people and, losing homes and losing stuff. And I'm a natural empath. I feel the emotions of other people. I hate to admit that as a guy, because grown men don't cry, right? But I actually truly felt the emotions on a daily basis of people who come in there and they're in tears because, they don't have a choice but to sell the place. If they don't sell it, it actually, gets worse, right? They lose it to foreclosure or whatever. So yeah. I'm full on board with helping you guys, and any lead that I come across that are, headed down that path, I'm absolutely going to make sure they get in touch with you guys and we work with you. Because I think that's, I don't know anybody else in the industry that's doing it, right? I've been looking around. There's just nobody else doing what you guys are doing, and it's really needed. So that's going to be a fun one to see, grow up, to mature and get in play.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to working with you, Ron. It's, like I said, you're one of the very, very few guys that I feel is just, you're just natural. That's all I could say. You're very, very genuine. So I love to work with you on any level. All
right. Well, we're coming on to about, so towards we're going to start wrapping up here a little bit, so we don't want to go too much further. But after all the questions I've asked you, I always like to ask this question: what should I have asked? What's the question that somebody interviewing somebody with your skill set, you're buying and selling business, you're the chairman of the board, you got a book coming out, you've got investment history. There's got to be a question that, man, he should ask me this because his audience needs to know it. So is there a question out there?
Yes. So if I were you, I'd be asking, what is the most important thing in the world, Lana? And my answer would be, is not money, it's not success, it's not fame and fortune, it's time. It's time for you. And of course, it'll be different for everyone what that time means to them. To me, and I'm pretty sure it is to you as well, it's family, it's kids, it's time to do what drives you. What drives me is care. I am very, very much enthralled into anything, any industry that has a word care in it. I love helping. I love, I love helping. So we actually, with Labruta family, with Labruta Capital, we have a whole lot, a bigger goal there where we're going to be helping a whole lot. And what's most important to me is the time that I need to be able to help others.
So I already kind of knew this, but so you're interested in your current acquisitions outside of the company, the MBH, but your personal acquisitions, you're interested in anything in the care space, health and well-being, care, holistic organic products. If it has to do with taking care of yourself or others, it seems like that's where you want to be. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. So any industry that uses the word care, I'm very, very interested, whether it's healthcare, whether it's wellness, if it's a pet care, elderly care, child care, anything that uses the word care, I'm very, very interested. And at the same time, veterans care, we're very, very interested in helping veterans out. So again, care.
Awesome. So that's an easy way to remember. Lana cares, right? So cool.
Yes, Lana cares.
All right, let's see. I'm looking through my notes here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything really cool. Yeah, actually, the main thing I guess I need to make sure, where do listeners reach out to, where do you want them to connect with you? So if they want to follow you, see what you're up to, what's your, I guess, flavor of choice in the social media world?
Okay, well, I don't participate in social media other than LinkedIn. I'm very easily found on LinkedIn. It's LinkedIn and then Lana Coronado. And I also have my personal website, which is Coronado Results. Coronado as in Coronado, California, and then the word results. That's all one word.com. And from there, I could be connected with through any, whether it's Labruda, whether it's Holdings, whether it's MBH, depending on what the person's needs are, then I can take them to that direction.
Awesome. So if they're looking for you, they either go to your website or they go to LinkedIn and they search for you and they can find you. For the outlets that allow me to put it in the description, I'll put a way to I'll put your LinkedIn profile inside of our description. So we'll have that there. And is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we wrap it up today?
No, that is correct. You're absolutely correct. I absolutely love chatting with you, Ron. It's been the most fun. And I thank you for that. And again, if anybody is interested in a free copy of the book, just collect the email address, and I'll be more than happy when it's out. I'll send them out a PDF copy of it.
So for those of you listening, my email address is me at forselltosold.com, and that's the number 4 SALE, the number 2 SOLD.com. It's me at forselltosold.com. Just email me, let you know that you want Lana's book, and I'll make sure she gets that message and we get that to you right away. And thank you guys for listening today. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Investors and Entrepreneurs Professional Mastermind. The Investors and Entrepreneurs Professional Mastermind combines the traditional peer-to-peer mastermind introduced first in Napoleon Hill's famous book, Think and Grow Rich, with accountability partnering, where your peers help you ensure that you set goals, take actions, and get results. If you want to scale, blow past roadblocks, and achieve success faster than you might think is possible, I suggest you take a visit over to TIEPM.com. That's TIEPM.com and check out the Investors and Entrepreneurs Professional Mastermind.